Jesus Ramos, it is the first fight of the night, and then we get to the next fight. This is going to be good. Chris Colbert, Jose Valenzuela.
Okay, guys, we can turn to the cameras. Here we go, guys. Third row, dead center, please. Third row together, guys. Third row together, guys, please. Third row. And then TVs in the back, please. All right, guys, please hang out on the sides. Then we'll go co-main.
This was going to be intense. Chris Colbert, Rayo, Jose Valenzuela, and then we get to the co-main. 2 unbeaten. Joey Spencer. Take it on Jesus Ramos.
All right, guys, here we go for the cameras. Third row, dead center, please. Third row. TVs in the back too, please. All right, guys, let's bring everyone in together for a group shot, please. Jose and Chris first.
The entire call.
Outside, Chris in the middle. Yep.
Cody Crowley, Abel Ramos.
All together, third row, dead center, please.
Jose Valenzuela, Chris Colbert, Joey Spencer, and Jesus Ramos. This is the undercard for Benavidez versus Plant on Showtime pay-per-view. Again, we begin at 9 p.m. Eastern. That is 6 o'clock Pacific time. Next. Two former world. Cody, in light of family tragedy that you suffered here recently, tell the people why this fight has so much significance to you.
Thank you. I forgot by saying one thing. Mom, we're back on the TV. We're back on Showtime. We did it. I love you. It doesn't get easier. You know, me and my father, we've been battling mental health issues for a couple of years. He was battling it for his whole life. He had demons that he couldn't beat. And last summer, they got the best of him. And, you know, he took his own life. And
what's going on, guys? Welcome. Here, let me fix the sound. Mic check. Hold on, I'm having some sound issues. Give me 1 minute. Are we back?
Opponent.
Here we go.
He's the former 2-time WBC super middleweight champion of the world. He's unbeaten. He's known as the Mexican Monster, David Benavidez.
I got David Benavidez. Look at him, lost all that weight. I wonder if he's going to cut. Likely, right? How you guys doing? Welcome back.
Of course, his trainer and father, Jose Benavidez Sr., and of course his manager, promoter, Samson Lukowitz from Samson Boxing. Folks, we talked about it earlier. This is what you want. One of the most significant fights of the year. You want the best fighting the best. Listen, the heated dissension between these two without a doubt, intense. But the beauty is they finally get to settle the score inside the ring and determine who's the better fighter. And it comes your way Saturday night. Benavidez versus Plant, a marquee matchup of two of the very best fighters at 168 pounds. All right, guys, let's talk about this fight. And you know what? We'll probably just start really simple. I'll give the trainers the opportunity to speak first, and I'll come to you, Stephen Breadman Edwards, first of all. And it's a simple question. Let the people know, why will Caleb Plant win this fight Saturday night?
Up here.
At the end of the day, you know, we can all make predictions and say what we think is going to happen. But Caleb is going to have to rise to the occasion and be at his best when his best is needed and come through in the clutch. You know, we know what kind of opponent we have in front of us, and he got to raise his game up and come through the way I believe that he will. It's as simple as that. The X's and O's, you really don't know what a guy going to do once they start getting punched and all the pressure and the bright lights get on him. But, you know, he got to rise to the occasion.
Jose, same question to you. Let the people know, why will David Benavidez win this fight come Saturday night?
I believe that, you know, he put a lot of hard work into this camp. I never seen him so focused and mentally, physically trained so hard. The motivation that he has put in this training camp, he's in another level, man. You guys are going to see the Mexican monster, like Mike Tyson said on Saturday. He's super excited. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. He's been training since he was 2 years old, you know, and you guys are going to see the Mexican monster this Saturday, and there's no doubt he's going to put this guy to sleep.
So let me bring to the podium now. This young man's just 30 years old. He's 22-1. He's got 13 knockouts. He is Caleb Sweet Hands Plant.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Caleb Plant, and I've worked really hard this camp. And on Saturday, March 25th,
You're going to get knocked out.
knock it off.
Go to sleep again.
No, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate all y'all showing up today. Glad that you guys are here. We're going to put on a big fight this Saturday. That's what boxing needs. That's what it's about. I want to thank Al Heyman, Luis de Cubas. Obviously thank Steven Espinoza and Showtime. And really want to thank Al Heyman and Luis de Cubas because boxing needs big fights. And they've been linking up with fighters and getting big fights made. So that's exactly what boxing needs. So salute to y'all. And I've worked extremely hard for this fight. I'm ready. And actually somebody you know, already on weight, right? But that don't mean shit to me. And I don't care if you already on weight. That's not bragging rights. I brought my mouthpiece and my cup with me this week, but I don't need a pat on the back for it. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be on weight. So, welcome to the club. And you know, you got your newfound muscles that you've been showing off all week. Welcome to the club. That's what happens when you work hard and you put everything. I don't need the right opponent in front of me to say, hey, oh, this time I got the right guy in front of me. I'm gonna get after it now. I've been walking that straight line.
My bad.
Opponent in front of me to, you know, you got a real one in front of you. I'm not some blown up 154 pounder. I'm not 100 to, you know, motivate me to give it my all and give it my best. I've been doing that my whole life since I was a little kid. So Saturday night, you got a real one in front of you. I'm not some blown up 154-pounder. I'm not a 160-pounder blown up with a 2-week notice. I'm the real deal. And you're going to find out on Saturday. I promise you that.
Make sure you don't forget your rolling skates.
Coming to the podium. He's the former 2-time WBC super middleweight champion of the world. Just 25 years old. 26-0. He's got 23 knockouts. They call him the Mexican Monster. He's David Benavidez.
You know, first of all, I want to thank God, because without God, none of this would be possible. I want to thank Luis de Cubas, Samson Lukowicz, my father, Jose Benavidez, and especially Al Heyman. You know what I mean? I've been working extremely hard for this camp. You know, I'm super ready. I'm very excited. And like I said, all the talk is done. What's funny, though, that I seen Caleb Plant been doing that grave digging gesture. Little does he know he's digging his own grave. And I want to see Saturday night what that chin look like. Yeah, we're going to see. We're going to see. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, fellas, let's talk about the fight. That's what everybody.
We got to talk about the lack of drug testing, if there is any. Anybody know if there's any drug testing?
It's been the simple question that I've asked all these guys. Tell us why Caleb Plant's going to win Saturday night.
Well, I feel I'm the better boxer. I got the better IQ. I got more experience. And I got better boxing. I got a better boxing team. I don't just have coaches or trainers, but I have teachers. I got the better pedigree. And Saturday night is going to show.
David Benavidez, same question. Why will you win Saturday night?
I mean, we worked extremely hard. I'm definitely the harder puncher now that I'm more dedicated for this fight. You know, Caleb Plant said he's found his new power. I've been had this power. Now I just tweaked it. Now I'm even more stronger, more faster. So this is definitely going to be a fight of a boxer and a pressure fighter. I'm very excited, but like I said, this is going to be a war, and Team Benavidez will come out on top.
Caleb, you know, and I'm just quoting from some of the stuff I've read from David from the boxing scene. It says, hey, look, I'm knocking him out by the 6th round. He's talked so much stuff. I'm going to break his jaw. I'm going to break him down and make him pay for everything he said about me. What does David Benavidez not realize that he's going to find out on Saturday night?
Just like I said, I'm not a 154-pounder blown up like he's been fighting, or a 160-pounder blown up. You know, I don't have no 2-week notice. I'm a full-fledged super middleweight. And I'm one of the best in the world at what I do. And, you know, we've yet to see if he can perform on this type of level. But Saturday night, we're going to find out.
David, in light of that, you've stopped your last 6 opponents. Would you be satisfied if you got the victory Saturday, but it didn't come by stoppage?
No, I wouldn't. But, you know, like I said, he's talking about blown up 54-pounders, blown up 60-pounders. When he fought Fighting Boots, that was a blown up 60-pounder. He couldn't do shit with him. When he fought a true super, when he fought
him.
But you couldn't do anything.
I beat his ass.
But when he fights a true super middleweight like Usyk, his eye gets split open and gets
from a headbutt. Yeah, it got cut off from a
headbutt. That was a punch.
But what happened?
And when he fights
2 knockdowns. And I got my hand raised, world champion. I didn't win no world title against Ronald Gurville. I didn't get dropped by Ronald Gurville. I fought a real deal, Jose.
I won a world title at 20 years old, the youngest super middleweight world title.
Against who?
You at 20 years old? You won a title at 20 years old?
Against who?
I still wonder what was the youngest super world title. I mean, you know what I mean? So
Jose Usyk didn't drop me. Oh my God. Did Ronald Gurville drop you?
Yeah, he almost knocked you the fuck out. He almost knocked you out in the last round, and you got knocked the fuck out by Canelo. And you got knocked the fuck out by Canelo. So every time he fights a real, true super middleweight, he gets hurt. He gets hurt and he gets knocked out. No. So we're going to see. You know, he's going to be in there with the true super middleweight, the hardest and the most accurate super middleweight in this weight class. So we're going to see what's up.
Caleb, I know you've watched tons of video of this guy. You've seen him fight a number of times. If you could say something positive about David Benavidez, what would you say about David Benavidez as a fighter?
Well, I'd have to think for a little bit. No, you know, David's a good fighter. And again, you know, at the first press conference, he likes to make it seem like I'm not a good fighter. I'm a bum. I'm this. But if I'm a bum, why fight me? I know David's not a bum. I'm not interested in fighting bums. I'm interested in fighting good fighters because that's what boxing needs, that's what the fan needs, and most importantly, that's what I want, that's what I need for my legacy, and that's why I'm here.
David, same question. I know you've seen plenty of video of Caleb Plant. Tell us good things, what you've seen out of Caleb Plant. Why this makes it such a great fight.
He is a good boxer. He's good speed. He moves around really good. But this is, like I said, like how he said, I don't want to fight no bums no more. I want the real deal. I've heard everybody I've gotten in the ring with. You know, I can't say the same for him. So I know I have power, you know what I mean? So we're ready to see, put Caleb Plant's chin to the test. And I guarantee you he is going to be hurt this fight.
You know, everybody probably wants to know this too. When you talk about 168 pounds, we know there's an undisputed champion. But in your opinion, Caleb, the winner of this fight is where? Where does that person rank when you talk about 168?
I think it puts him right there, up at the top. As of now, Canelo has that title, and rightfully so. He's undisputed. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's, could be considered an all-time great. And, I'm super motivated for this fight. I want to be able to right or wrong, but, first things first, I want to, and I'm going to handle business on Saturday.
David, same question. Where's the winner belong at 168?
Fighting for all the belts, but I'm not worried about anything else besides this fight. My mind and my focus is set on Caleb Plant this Saturday.
So we'll end it with this. This arena is going to be sold out. Number of pay-per-view buys. For all those people going to spend their hard-earned money because they want to see Caleb Plant, they want to see David Benavidez get it on. Caleb Plant, what can you guarantee they're going to get on Saturday night?
They're going to see me get my hand raised. That's what I'm guaranteeing.
David Benavidez, what can you guarantee they're going to get on Saturday night?
They're going to see me break Caleb Plant's fucking jaw Saturday night.
By the 6th round, right?
Yeah, by the 6th round.
By the 6th round?
Exactly.
Okay.
Folks, there you have it. It's the fight we all been wanting to see. David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, Showtime pay-per-view. It comes your way this Saturday, 9 o'clock Eastern. That is 6 o'clock Pacific time. We got to remind you, of course, this fight is being brought to you by Premier Boxing Champions. It's also being brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Action so good, why bet on boxing anywhere else? And by Big George Foreman, exclusively in movie theaters April 28th. Tickets are on sale now. It's rated PG-13. You can get your tickets at AXS.com. We will see you on Showtime pay-per-view Saturday night and at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Guys, can we get a face-off? Can we get a face-off? Yeah. Right here. Here we go. This is what we want. Caleb Plant, David Benavidez, the two top fighters at 168 pounds.
Guys, please sit down. Sit down.
This has been a grudge match that goes back over 5 years, and they finally get the opportunity to settle for the score in the ring.
Let's turn for the cameras, guys.
This is it. The unbeaten David Benavidez taking on Caleb Plant. Guys, if you can face the camera for us, take a turn towards the camera for us. That's it. That's good. Take a turn towards the cameras.
Guys, let's look out this way, please.
All right, that's enough, guys.
Benavidez versus Plant. Showtime pay-per-view Saturday night. The best versus the best.
Guys, let's turn this way, please.
Folks, we'll see you Saturday night on Showtime pay-per-view from the MGM Grand Garden Arena here in Las Vegas.
Guys, let's please have them face the front.
They just told me no more.
No?
They just told me to cut it out.
Two top fighters at 168, everybody.
Caleb, third row, dead center, please. Thank you. TVs in the back, please. TVs in the back.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. We'll see you Saturday night on Showtime pay-per-view from the MGM Great Garden Arena.
Let's go ahead.
Thank goodness, but that was a lot of fun. That was great.
Look, this press conference gave you what you're.
Let's see if they talk to the fighters individually, and then we'll go ahead over to the Ramirez press conference. Jose Ramirez, Richard Comey, because that's going to be wrapping up soon or starting soon. Thanks for watching.
That guy at all. Caleb Plant doesn't like me, I don't like him, but it's a classic fight between a really good boxer and a really good puncher. He's going to be running all night. It's going to be a count mouse game for me, but I definitely going to be on my P's and Q's. You know what I mean? I'm very excited. I'm very excited. This is a fight I've been looking forward to for a long, long time, and the fans are in for a treat. March 25th is going to be a great night.
Is there anything to the idea that he raised? Like, well, he says, I've been training, really hard since day one. Is there something to the idea, though, that this opponent has extra motivated you? Is there extra road work that was done, extra rounds and sparring? Did Caleb really make the training for this one more intense?
Yeah, definitely. But he's always talking, saying I'm fat, that I'm this and that, I need to make weight, this and that. But now that I come in, I've been on weight all week. I definitely gave him the importance he wanted. You know what I mean? I gave him all my attention. If back then I hit hard and I didn't really train like that, now that I've really prepared myself, I'm even more dangerous, so he should be even more worried. Like I said, trained for about 3.5, 4 months. I trained extremely hard, so he definitely gave me the motivation, the extra motivation I needed, because I really don't like this guy. I really do want to shut him up. So, I'm definitely going to be pushing for the knockout every single round.
Well, David, let me talk about this in light of what Luke asked you. There is an element of, though, be careful what you wish for. He's poking the bear deliberately. If I go to davidbenavidez.com, I see a Caleb Plant store. He's calling you names. Is this the wrong move when it comes to mental warfare in your eyes for what that's going to bring out of you?
Yeah, he thinks he's smart, but he's definitely brought the beast out in me. And like I said, you guys said he kept poking the bear, kept antagonizing me. And I gave him exactly what he wanted. This is a 300% ready David Benavidez, and I'm gonna give the fans exactly what they want to see. And just for the whole world of boxing, this is gonna be a great fight. I feel like we're giving the boxing fans like old school fights. Two guys that really don't like each other talking smack, and this just makes the fight way more better.
Well, how do you manage the emotions of being motivated to really hurt a guy you don't like versus being so motivated that maybe you get out of your game plan a little bit? How do you juggle that?
Every time I fight, I like to say I let the knockout come to me. I don't like to look for the knockout. You do everything right and the knockout comes on its own. But for this fight, I mean, I've been hitting harder. I've been faster. I've been doing everything much better than I've done my other fights. So I just got to stick to the plan. Do what I got to do, and the knockout will come on its own.
You're a very different fighter than Canelo in a lot of different ways, different body type, different punching style, the whole thing. Did you take anything from his victory over Caleb Plant, maybe watching tape? Was there anything to learn there?
Yeah, I watched a lot of tape on Caleb Plant, a lot. I seen a lot of the things he does good. I've seen a lot of the things he does bad. So there's a lot of holes in his game that I could take advantage of. And like I said, that's why that's why this fight is a pay-per-view fight, because it's not easy. It's not easy on any side. But I want to rise to the occasion. You know, I want those hard fights, and I want to earn it. You know what I mean? I don't want no more easy fights. I feel like back then I had a lot of not easy fights, but they didn't make me work like this, you know. And
sure,
Caleb Plant, he's definitely going to make me bring all my weapons out of my arsenal. So, but that means good for me and good for all my fans that are going to be watching.
I want to get, what's your central focus when you prepare for this fight? Because look, you're long been the boogeyman of this deep and great division, because we never got to see you against the very elite, because look, you lost your title, you had to get back in line, things have happened to this point. But we've all said, if anyone has the style to be Canelo's downfall at this weight class, it's probably you. So is the mindset only, I got to shut up Caleb? Or is it about also, hey Canelo, I'm here, and if I win this fight, I'm knocking, I'm coming?
The main focus was Caleb Plant for this fight. We worked exclusively for Caleb Plant. I feel like you do the job, and then you worry about what's after the job. I feel like if I was too focused on Canelo, I wouldn't be 100% focused on Caleb Plant. So we're gonna get to that. Like I said, we're gonna do our job good, and I'm just excited, man. This is a pay-per-view, man. My first pay-per-view. You know, people are loving this, and I'm just excited to bring this excitement back to boxing.
What about the crowd, too? You know, it's funny. We were here for Canelo versus Plant, and he was not the fan favorite in the crowd. The crowd obviously was very heavily based towards Canelo. Just walking around the casino, I see tons of Benavidez gear here. Do you feel that you'll be lifted by having probably much more of the crowd support? How do you manage that, or what does that do for your performance?
Yeah, so when you're in the fight, when you're in these professional fights, like if you see at a concert, the crowd gives you energy. So the crowd is definitely going to be giving me energy. So I'm just excited, man. I just love to hear that roar from the crowd, and I love the walkouts of the entrances. And I'm here for the fans. I'm here to give them what they want to see. I mean, I'm definitely going to be disciplined in the ring, but also we came here to give the fans a great fight.
Do you trash talk in the middle of a fight?
It just depends. With Caleb, I am. But yeah.
Hey, not a bad time for the Benavidez family right now, where you're headlining your first pay-per-view on Saturday night. Your older brother, Jose Jr., had a pretty damn good role in Creed 3. Look, you're his younger bro. This is a big deal for the family name. How big is this, though, when you sat in the theater and watched that?
It was amazing, man. First of all, I didn't even think he could act, but he did a hell of a job. You know what I mean? I went in there, I was a little nervous, but he did a fantastic job. His daughter was born on, I think, February or January, while he was in Atlanta. So he had to make a big sacrifice and be there, but it all
the right fight, like everything is where it needs to be at this moment. Why is this the moment for David Benavidez? Why is it this moment in time where you feel like, okay, now I'm ready to make a move?
Because I had to keep the promise to the little kid I told myself. When I was 13 years old, I told myself I was going to be here. When I got to the pay-per-view, I was going to work my ass off, no matter who it was or who was in front of me. I was going to be in spectacular fashion, and I was going to be that man. The next pay-per-view star, and that's definitely what I wanted to be. Even before I got the phone call for Caleb Plant, I was extremely ready. I was in a training camp for another fight. So, I mean, this is probably the hardest I've ever worked, and I just turned 26 years old, so wow. I'm kind of getting in my prime. I'm in at the beginning stages of my prime, so I'm even stronger now than I was back then. And everything that's led me, the good and the bad, has led me to this moment. And I just can't wait to take advantage of this.
Well, good luck to you. We cannot wait to see this Saturday night. You've done all the work. I mean, you could say that, fat kid. I mean, you're big bone, first of all. And you're in shape. I've been watching you. So go get him on Saturday night. We look forward to it.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Luke Thomas, this is
I wonder if they're going to talk to Caleb Plant. I'm going with David Benavidez. Just get that out there. I think he's too big, too strong. My concern is, I was on Twitter yesterday. I didn't watch the media workout, so I went on Twitter to recap the media workout. Look at pictures, look at tweets, little clips from here and there. And if you look at the picture in the thumbnail, in fact, let me pull this photo up for you. I was like, hey, wait a minute. Is there any drug testing for this fight? Because normally, if you're in VADA, on the VADA Twitter page, they'll announce what fighters have entered VADA and when they completed VADA, like they did with Canelo and John Ryder recently. So when I look at this, I think to myself, like, well, wait a minute, you know? And he's with Mimo Haradia, the guru. Now, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing. But you would think with a fight of this caliber that there would have been drug testing, right? There's not. I got David Benavidez by stoppage. I'm going to go round 10. David Benavidez is going to catch up to him. I'm not sure if Caleb Plant has enough to keep him off of him. Yeah, he iced Anthony Benavidez, Anthony Terel, which was a significant icing for me. But I'm not confident he can beat a full-blown, healthy, young, pressure-fighting power puncher in David Benavidez. Caleb Plant's good, but I'm just not sure. This pay-per-view is buzzing a little bit among hardcore boxing fans. I'm not confident that this pay-per-view does over 200,000 pay-per-view buys, but I don't know what their number is. Remember, whatever number we may consider a success or a failure, the network and the promoters and those who are involved have their own number. So what's their number? What do you guys think this is going to do on pay-per-view? I really like the card. This is one of the most aggressive cards PBC have put on in a long time between Chris Colbert and Jose Rayo Venezuela. You have Jesus Ramos. This is the chief support of the undercard. Jesus Ramos taking on Joey Spencer. Then you got Cody Crowley taking on Abel Ramos. That's a very aggressive card. You got Joey Spencer and Jesus Ramos, two fighters at 154 pounds who don't normally fight in this generation of boxing, don't normally fight at this stage in their careers, both being young. They normally like to get a belt first before they try to unify and milk it. You got Chris Colbert coming off of a upset defeat to Hector Garcia. Hector Garcia went on to capture a belt, then went on to face Gervonta Tank Davis. He's taking on Rayo Venezuela, who got his shit pushed in his last fight. So you rarely see fighters, solid name fighters or up and coming talents face off in a fight where they both are coming off of a loss. And then you have Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez, or David Benavidez is his build versus Caleb Plant. Both of them are fighting and there's no belt on the line. It's a fight that should have happened a year and a half ago, but it's not one of those fights that aged itself out. It didn't age itself out. It's still a real quality fight, a really good fight, and a crossroads. Caleb Plant needs the win. David Benavidez, if he loses to Caleb Plant, the kind of boogeyman mystique is kind of gone. And they're both trying to get that Canelo rematch. I think Canelo will fight David Benavidez before he fights Caleb Plant again. He'd drop the belt if he's ordered to fight him and be like, nah, I already beat him before. That's how I think he would handle that. My phone is ringing off the doggone hook. But overall, very solid event. Here's the card, by the way. It's going to be $74.99 on Showtime pay-per-view. Here's the price right here. By the way, you can listen to this on the FightView360 Boxing Podcast in audio form, available on all of your listening platforms, Spotify, Google, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Blog Talk. But here it is right there, $74.99. How many of you are buying the fight? You can tell me, be honest. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to judge you. How many of you actually buying the fight? How many of you, the people, are like, yo, I'm going to be in the crib. I'm going to buy that. Are you having a fight party for it? I tell you what, if you're not Hispanic, of Hispanic heritage, are you making a fight party out of this? I identify as being Chicano. So, of course, I'm going to support my people. What is Caleb playing? Is he Irish? He seemed like he got like German heritage. But overall, here's the pay-per-view card. Solid pay-per-view. But yeah, is it not kind of fishy to you guys where it's like, it's not no drug testing? Like, what's up with that? That doesn't kind of, like mess with you a little bit? So here we are. David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, Cody Crowley, Abel Ramos. Well, let me tell you the running order. The pay-per-view is going to open up with Cody Crowley versus Abel Ramos. Then it's going to be Chris Colbert versus Jose Venezuela. And then it's going to be Jesus Ramos versus Joey Spencer. And then David Benavidez and Caleb Plant, $74.99. Yeah, you can be whatever you want. This is 2023, man. I thought about identifying as Puerto Rican a few months ago. But I was like, you know what? I'm a chill, just be Mexican. I guess they're not going to talk to David Benavidez. So, where's my boxing schedule here? Let's see what we're going to talk about today. Jojo Diaz lost to Mercito Gesta. That was a main event of the zone card this past weekend where it was supposed to be Zurdo Ramirez taking on Gabriel Rosado. Ramirez wasn't going to get no stripes from me for beating up on Gabriel Rosado. And then you got the nerve to come in or not make weight. Like, bro, here's the other topics. You have Katie Taylor taking on Chantelle Cameron, May the 20th in Dublin. I think that's on the same level, or if not a better fight, because it's a different division than the Amanda Serrano rematch. That's going to be on May the 20th. They had a press conference earlier this week. How come Katie Taylor always sound like she out of breath? Is that some type of disability? She'd be like, well, I'm happy to be here in front of my people. Like, what's up with that? Wonderful woman. Met her, interviewed her multiple times. I think, funny enough, I interviewed Katie Taylor 3 different times in 3 different places. Crazy. 3 different cities. Joshua Buatsi signs with, Lawrence O'Colly, the sauce. I'm a huge Lawrence O'Colly fan. People think he boring, but I think he the man. Lawrence O'Colly is taking on David Light. I watched that press conference about 9 o'clock this morning. He's been shitting on Eddie Hearn, and it's like, damn, Matchroom is in some trouble. People are not really talking about it here in the States, but Sky Sports and Boxer, Ben Shalom, they poaching Matchroom. They taking fighters that Matchroom built up, and it's that fighting on Sky. See, Sky, for those who don't know in the States, Sky Sports is the equivalent of ESPN over here in the States. So it's a big difference between fighting on this. It's the same situation over here in the States. It's like, you want us to fight on an app and we don't get no exposure, but we can fight on the ESPN. And it's like, that's available to everybody. Everybody know ESPN. I could tell my homies like, yo, I'm fighting on ESPN. And you tell some old people like, I'm fighting on DAZN. And they like, you know what I'm saying? What's that? It's like, oh, you got to pull out your motherfucking phone. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, why can't I watch it on my TV? And it's like, oh, yeah, well, you can, but you got to have a Fire Stick, or you got to have, I don't want to do none of that. Old people, so that's what a lot of fighters, they got Caleb Plant. Let's listen to what he has to say. Some arrogant shit. We're going to talk about him in a minute.
Focus, your confidence level, it's almost like sadistic.
It's different.
Like, does it come in a jar? Because I'd like to take one of those once per day. Be honest with us here. I know you're going to say, well, I believe in myself. I put in the hard work. We know that. Mm-hmm. But deep inside, dude, you've got almost like a scary level of confidence right now. Why?
I've been doing this for a long time at a really high level. And, I've always succeeded at the highest level in boxing, whether it's from the amateurs, Golden Glove National Championship, Olympic alternate, Olympic trials. And then obviously, moving through the pros, the fight with Jose Usyk, I was an underdog, year layoff, coming off a broke hand. I came in and did what I did, got my hand raised, became champ. Against Terel, coming off the Canelo loss, almost a year layoff, came back, did what I did. And then even with Canelo, it didn't wind up not going my way, but I know the type of work I put in and the success that I did have. And, that was a hostile environment. That was a hostile crowd.
We were there. We were just talking about that.
Yeah, and so, coming out the other side of that with the success that I had, it made me feel like I was a step further away from accomplishing my goals. It made me feel like I was just one step closer. And so I'm feeling good. I'm locked in. I'm zoned in. I'm focused. But I'm relaxed. I'm balanced. I'm centered.
Give us a sense of the Breadman effect, right? So you have this layoff, and then you fight Terel, and then you send him to the land of wind and ghosts, and everyone's like, "Oh, Breadman's going to give him all this new offense."
Yeah, Caleb, I didn't see that knockout coming, by the way. I don't think a lot of us did. It was pretty spectacular here. So this question adds some fuel to that.
So what we're saying is we always knew you were a strong defensive fighter, but that was like a new component. Is it just on the offensive side, or what exactly does Breadman bring to the team?
Well, I mean, you don't just develop all that crazy power in, one camp. That's obviously something I possess. I've sparked people out before and starched them where they're just snoozing. And but Breadman has definitely brought new things to the table and reiterated and echoed a lot of things that my dad has been wanting and been asking for and been wanting from me. And so Breadman, he's a great coach, and he has brought some of that Philly grit and, just teaching me small things. And at the highest level, it's the small things. I'm obviously a great boxer with a tremendous amount of IQ and, a lot of athleticism. So it's just those small tweaks in my game that can make a big difference, especially at this level. And, you guys obviously seen that against Jarrell, and being able to have a back-to-back camp finally after a few years, I'm only going to get better and better because it was 11 months from Canelo to Terel. It was 11 months from Caleb Truax to Canelo. It was 11 months from Feigenbutz to Truax. So, finally getting a back-to-back camp, you're going to see the best Caleb Plant you guys have seen yet.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, look, I gotta go even further on this from this mindset factor. I can tell you're into mental warfare. I mean, on the basketball courts, I used to, I'd draw a grown man to raise a fist once in a while just to get in his head.
Okay.
You've been poking this bear, and this is a scary bear. You want to play the matador to this bull. I'm feeling this is calculated.
Well, you call him scary, and this is no knock on you, but you guys are civilians.
Very true.
I'm not a civilian, so he don't scare me. I don't care what he brings to the table. It's not about what he brings to the table to me. What do I bring to the table? What am I capable of? What can I do? And so he's had a lot to say about me, him and his dad. But I'm not concerned with that. I'm focused, like I said. I'm balanced. I'm centered. And Saturday night, you guys are going to see the best Caleb Plant you've seen yet.
You watch a lot of tape?
I do. I watch a lot of tape, whether it be fights of my own, fights of fighters of the past, even fighters of this era that I'm fans of, and I study a lot of film. Yeah.
All right. So I know you're not going to tell the game plan, so I'm not going to ask. But what I will ask is something a little bit more general. What are you up against in David Benavidez? What is the task to be solved?
Well, David's a good fighter, and he finally gave me a little credit down there when Brian asked.
Yeah.
But even at the LA press conference, he wants to act like I'm a bum and that I'm not this and I'm not that. Well, you're not going to hear that from me because I know David's a good fighter, and that's all I'm interested in facing is good fighters, not just for boxing but for the fans. And like I said up there, most importantly, my legacy. And so David's a good fighter. He's got some attributes and offensively and defensively. And but I'm one of the best in the sport at setting traps. And going back to the Terel thing, that was something that Terel kept doing over and over, and he kept doing it the same way. And, so I just kept doing it, setting the trap until I felt like it was time to go. And, he never changed his defensive responsibilities, and that was a major cost for him. So if David's not on all his, P's and Q's come Saturday night, then I'll just keep laying traps until I catch him.
What about this idea he goes back to, like you've never faced a puncher like him? You believe that?
No. Who has he ever sparked out?
David Lemieux, well, he didn't spark him out, but the referee intervened.
The referee intervened.
Porky Medina.
Did he spark him out?
That was about an 18-punch combination.
Yeah, which is nice. But the specific question is, who has he sparked out?
I'm not sure. BC?
Not off the top of my head. I mean...
Yeah, so what I'm saying is he's not some huge one-punch knockout power type of guy. He's a volume puncher. That's his greatest asset. He's a volume puncher. And so, for him to try and build this up, maybe he's trying to make me scared of his power now, this newfound power he has, but he's not a one-punch knockout power. He doesn't punch as hard as Canelo. He doesn't punch as hard as Jose Usyk. He's a volume puncher. So, but hey, if he feels like he's this big, one-punch knockout power guy, more power to him.
Well, look, you've given him the respect because you know the challenge you're up against, and you respect that challenge. I mean, he's the betting favorite. Let's talk about, we know what's going on there. But so his skills, are on your level. You're two elite fighters.
No, they're not on my level.
Okay, that's fair. But I wanted to ask you more, do you believe he's on your level on the intangible area? If this becomes, a drag-out fight, does he have the same gas tank? Does he have the same will that you are confident that you have? Where if this fight goes off game plan for either one of you, do you feel like he can still be standing with you at the end?
I don't feel like he has the same willpower as me, no. I willed myself here through a lot of things that people are giving up on, and I don't need some pity party or nothing like that, but that's the facts. I willed myself here. I built the world to my will. And Saturday night, I'm going to get my hand raised.
So it sounds like you relish this underdog role a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah, I mean...
You want the credit, but at the same time, you kind of like sticking it to people, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy sticking it to people for sure. But
whose idea was the DavidBenavidez.com thing? Was that your idea?
That was me. Yeah, I bought that back in like 2018, 2019. And,
Did you really?
Really?
Yeah.
You were just sitting on a gold mine.
I was sitting on it the whole time. I knew we would fight one day, and I was just keeping that card in my back pocket for when the time came. And then I knew that I could just link that to my website, and then drop the collection, the Revenge Tour collection on it, and just the marketing alone between all the Instagram and YouTube, just the marketing alone pushed it so far forward that I made a lot of money off that week, off the pre-sale.
Well, you've got good merch in a sport where you don't always see that, but I went to the DavidBenavidez.com looking at the Caleb Plant merch. It's all sold out. What's going on here?
Yeah, well, you got to restock.
No. I only keep it open for a week. I do a pre-sale for a week. You make your order. After that, it's closed, and I don't re-release collection. So you got to get it while it's hot, or you're going to miss out on that forever.
Well, I know your beef with the Benavidez family isn't just David, but did you catch Creed 3? You got a review of the acting work of one Jose Jr. or what?
No, I haven't seen it. I came out during camp, and I'm not one to go out much in camp. I just stay in the house, study, train, rest.
It's about that life, Luke.
Did the camp change at all, bringing in a new trainer? Like, how did does he just do X's and O's? Like, how much was that a factor?
No, he's really great at X's and O's, just like my dad. But he also, just like my dad, believes in hard work. And so the grinding has gone to a new level when he came in, and that's what we were trying to do beforehand. But other people had different ideas, and as a head coach, those are to somewhat be respected. But I've really enjoyed having Bradman in camp. He's an easy guy to get along with, but he don't take no bullshit, and he expects you to work hard, and that's right up me and my dad's alley. And that's why you guys have seen a new and an improved Caleb Plant. Then not for this camp, even though I got knockout of the year last time, I still moved forward and brought in Tony Brady on the strength side, and kept Coach Wade as my conditioning coach on the track. And Tony Brady, he's worked with the likes of Andre Ward for most of his career, Diego Corrales, Joel Casamayor, Jeff Lacey, and many others. And even though that I had that knockout the way I did, I still knew that I could improve. And that's one thing that I give myself a pat on the back for, is I'm always looking for ways to improve and always looking for ways to get better, regardless of the success that I have.
I was also going to add, just on top, like, you're always in good shape. It seems like you're in extra good shape for this one in particular, no?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure y'all seen the video and the picture, and but I'm in good shape for all fights. I don't wait on the big moment to get here before I start working hard. I'm really, you hear me say, I worked really hard this camp. I'm really motivated this camp. I don't have to have the right opponent in front of me for me to do what I'm supposed to do. I got such a love and a passion for this sport. I respect this culture. I respect the boxing culture. I respect this sport so much that and the window is so small. You got to do everything right, and that's just to have a chance at this level. You got to do every single thing right, and that's just to have a chance. And I don't leave things a chance.
All right, let's close with this. This division is red hot, and if Jamal Charlo moves up, we could have more names going on here. We've got Morrell, we've got Andrade, we've got so many. Is getting the win here more about just shutting up this chapter and this rivalry that's been going on for years, or is it more about running that back against Canelo as well and trying to prove something to yourself, to critics, that you can be better than the last performance? In your only defeat, which was great, and we thought you were admirable there, but I know that you want to run back and make it better. Is this more about ending this Benavidez beef, or is this more about what's coming up ahead?
It's about a handful of things. It's about being able to move forward and right or wrong. But most importantly, it's about you guys, all y'all say that he's one of the best. And that's who I want to fight. And whoever I fight, I'm getting my hand raised.
Let me ask one more question. What do you say to all the boxers who sometimes don't necessarily want to lean into these kinds of challenges, don't want to make these big fights for whatever reason, the money, the situation, whatever? You guys are taking on risk to do this. What do you have to say to people who aren't necessarily embracing that similar kind of challenge?
Those are the ones who won't be remembered. And, they'll never be talked about. They'll never be remembered. And, through my life, it's like I've lost certain people in my life, and the next day the whole world forgets about them. And one of the reasons I grind so hard is that I know one day my time is going to expire, but I want my name to live on. I want to push my name forward, and not my first name, my last name, and just be someone that even after I'm gone, fighters can look to, and whether it be the way I work, the way I train, the way I was disciplined and dedicated, the bond, the domain, whatever, drop an action figure, just whatever it is. Look to me, and you can use whatever I've done, or you can take what I've done and push it forward and make it even better. That's what it's about.
That's Caleb Plant, Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Showtime pay-per-view, Benavidez Plant. You can order it right now, showtime.com/PPV. But for Luke Thomas and Caleb Sweet Hands Plant, I'm Brian Campbell. Thank you for joining us. Weigh in on Friday, and then we will see you Saturday night.
I like Caleb Plant, man. But he sure does come off as an arrogant motherfucker sometimes, doesn't he? But as they say, there's a thin line between cocky and confident. But one thing for sure is on Saturday night or around 1 a.m. or so Eastern, whenever this fight ends, somebody going to be looking real motherfucking, kind of fucked up. I'm picking David Benavidez. I've told you multiple times, for those who don't know, how I feel about the resume of Caleb Plant. We can go through it real quick, but I want to go in and check in real quick on this, which is live right now between Jose Ramirez and Ryder-Comey, their press conference. They're fighting also starting at 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, the same time as the Plant versus Benavidez card. And I don't know how I feel about this fight.
There's nothing I don't like, except ticket requests at the last second. Now, those are horrible. But, look, I always have a lot to work with. And on this show, it looks like we can break our attendance record we set in 2019 with 14,900. It looks like we're going to beat that. But look what I had to work with. This place has been dying for a big women's fight. A women's fight, period. And here we have a unification fight with the best in the world here to my right. I mean, it's incredible. And then on top of that, we have the debut of boxing royalty, like a royal bloodline in Gilroy, California, which is not too far away from here. You have the Guerrero family with a 5-division world champion, Robert the Ghost Guerrero, his dad, Max Guerrero, Ruben Guerrero Jr., who was on the Olympic team with Tyson in that era. Jesse James Guerrero will continue the bloodline and make his debut here in Fresno. And let me tell you, how popular is he? He sold $20,000 in tickets.
That's unbelievable.
Incredible.
That's
so
impressive.
lot to work with, and makes the job easy.
Tina, I want to come back to you because he referenced how important this fight is for the community of Fresno, but just for the sport of boxing and for yourself personally, coming to the United States for the first time and entering an arena with 15,000 fans.
I'm not sure how I feel about this Jose Ramirez Ryder-Comey fight.
The best female fighters in the world, and these fights are the fights people want to see. So, yeah, it's big.
Sinisa, how many folks do you have coming up from Los Angeles?
It's only a 3-hour drive, so we have a lot of support coming out here to Fresno, and I'm excited. It's really cool to see how many fans I have here in Northern California during Fight Week. It was great to meet everyone from all the kids from at the Boys and Girls Club and also at the local gyms that I've been training at.
And look, at the end of the day, the foundation on this show with a former world champion like Comey, an aggressive guy that comes to fight. He's never not in a big fight. That's going to make for fireworks Saturday night at the Save More Center.
I 100% agree with you, and to everybody tuning in, Saturday night is going to be absolute fireworks. It is a stacked card, and it is going to be an unbelievable unification championship and main event. That's all we got for you today. Thank you for spending time with us. We're going to be right back here on the campus of Fresno State University for our weigh-ins. The Save Mart Center is just outside the door. What an unbelievable fight week here in Fresno. To everybody on the panel, thank you so much for joining us. As always, this is boxing. This is Top Rank, and we'll see you right here tomorrow as we get them on the scale. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
Let's see if they're going to face off the fighters. So this card, headlined by former 140-pound champion Jose Ramirez and former 135-pound champion Richard-Comey, is going to be taking place at 10 p.m. Eastern on regular ESPN, and of course you can watch it on ESPN Plus. It's Jose Ramirez's first fight back. I remember he denied, along with Eli Suckballs, that this fight was even happening. But here we are. Now, in this day and age, I don't really think you should get any stripes for beating up on Richard-Comey. Richard-Comey should be not a fight for a former world champion, but a fight for Sinesa Superbad Estrada, taking on a Tina Ruperch. No, I'm sorry if I'm butchering her name. Damn, if Estrada's small, she's a tiny woman. This girl's got to be like 5 foot, 4'11". Let me see how tall she is. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that 4'10". Look, 4'10". Man, talk about tiny. But, I'm not a fan of this fight. I'm not a fan. It's not, Jose Ramirez, Richard-Comey in 2023. Richard-Comey should be like a prospect fighter now. No disrespect to him. I'm just calling like it is, man. Like he should be like a rite of passage to get to the next step. The fighter former, But one thing for sure is he can withstand a hell of an ass whooping. You can beat that man. He's just gonna keep getting up. Let's go look at his resume. He can get his ass beat. Remember, he was going life and death, like to hell and back with Robert Easter. Like they were like brawling. And also, this card is competing with the much favorable fight on pay-per-view with Caleb Plant, David Benavidez, even though David Benavidez, Caleb Plant is a pay-per-view. So if you don't have the money, you got this card. But look at this. The split. I forgot who I had winning the fight with him and Pedraza. I remember saying that this fight saved their careers, though. I remember that's how I felt. Here, let me check real quick. What was my thoughts? Because that was like, that fight, whoever career it is, it saved theirs. Let me check real quick. Pedraza, Comey, TstreeT. Both of them needed to win that joint, right? Ends in the draw. Look at my title. See the title of my video? Pedraza versus Comey ends in the draw. Careers extended. But what's next? All right. So that means, but yeah, I don't think Jose Ramirez should be fighting him. Let me see who people think won. There was a straight up draw. I had Pedraza winning. I saw the draw. I'm okay with it. I like both of these guys. I had Pedraza pulling it out. What did I say? Like curse this person out? So people were split. But anyway, yeah, I don't think you should get no stripes for fighting Richard-Comey these days. I mean, he's been down a lot in his career, right? How many times he been down? Poor old Teofimo Lopez put him down, like down. Lomachenko beat the shit out of him. I'm talking about was beating the shit out of him. I'm surprised the ref didn't stop it. It doesn't say in this fight right here how many times he was down against Easter. But he'll just keep going down and just be getting up. Shout out to him. But yeah, let's see. What were we talking about? What's next on the docket? We were talking about other fights that are happening this weekend. You have Lawrence O'Colly taking on David Light. That's going to be on ProBox TV, the $18 a year app. I got the app. They're starting to make a little bit of waves, picking up the Big Baby Miller fight versus Lucas Browne. Lucas Browne here. I'll show you that clip. This is what happened. Big Baby Miller back. Did I tell you about the time where he tried to ice grill me? Right, he tried to intimidate me. Big Baby Miller tried to intimidate me. I was like, what is he doing? Yeah, Pro Box TV is $18 a year. But yeah, Lucas Browne had knocked out Junior Fa, was close to getting a fight with Daniel Dubois, but for some reason the WBA stopped it. He fought Big Baby Miller in Dubai on this card. John O'Carroll was on this card too. And now Big Baby Miller is slowly starting to get his ass back up there in the rankings. Like he gonna be coming up on a ranking soon. But you can tell something is different about him now. You can tell like the juice was loose. Not in this fight, but ever since he's been back, his whole fighting style has just changed. You know, homie, like you can't fool me, man. You can't fool me. You can't fool me. Joshua Buatsi has signed with Boxer and Sky Sports. He's going to be taking on the Pavel Stepien on May the 6th. That's the dude that was supposed to fight Callum Smith a couple of weeks ago. And Callum Smith cited an injury, but it looks like he wants to get the Bert BF fight. Inoue versus Fulton, that kind of broke my heart. It hasn't really set in yet, but Inouye's got injured, so that fight's been pushed back from May the 20th or the 7th until July. No date is confirmed yet. So that kind of hurts. That kind of stings. Since we have a little bit more time, let's go check out. Actually, we don't. We run out of time. We have a little bit more time. Eddie Hearn was on Talk Sport this weekend, and basically, you really didn't get too much. I did get a chance to watch the interview. Here, I'll pull it up. Fuck it. I recorded it. It was a bunch of going back and forth, but nothing really of real substance outside of Eddie Hearn is still writing for Conor Benn. He doesn't believe he knowingly cheated, but Conor Benn is sitting on this 280-page dossier that he's saying can clear his name, but he won't give the shit up. Like, bro, give up that dossier.
Moment, he's in a legal position with the British Boxing Board of Control.
See, listen
I agree with you, and I agree with.
Listen to this. This was from earlier this week.
Moment, he's in a legal position with the British Boxing.
And you know, Eddie Hearn, he's fast car. You know, he can just start talking. So you let him go, and he gonna start convincing you. So this is what he had to say about the Conor Benn situation. We're just gonna recap some things.
Boxing Board of Control. I agree with you, and I agree with Simon, and it's very important to me, regardless of what you think, that Conor Benn fights in this country again. The only way that's going to happen is if ego is dropped from both sides, and Conor is.
But Eddie, you've got a situation, mate, where you've got a fighter at this moment in time that's failed drugs test, right? And all I hear from you is how you're going to get him fighting again.
Yeah.
How he must get out fighting. Surely to Christ, he must get himself cleared and in a position.
Okay.
Right, and what you're doing is you're diminishing the argument about how important drugs are in the system of this sport by suggesting that the most important thing he needs to do is get out and fight.
No, I think
that's outrageous.
He hasn't
mate.
fought for a year. He's gone through this process with the WBC, who are in charge of that testing process. They've cleared him. They've reinstated him in the rankings. He's clear to fight in any jurisdiction in the world other than in the UK. I completely agree with you. Yep. I want Conor Benn to get with the British Boxing Board of Control, to go through this process. I want him to resume his career in this country.
So why is he not doing that?
Because at the moment he has a legal situation with the board. He doesn't want to deal with the board. They tried to slap $100,000 fine on him, not in relation to the board.
I'm going to simplify this before we leave the Conor Benn situation.
Go one second. And I'm not saying to you it's correct. Right? I'm not sitting here saying...
But even his own father said on a Piers Morgan interview, which, by the way, I thought was a dreadful thing for him to have done, right? But the bottom line is that even his own father said he should face the British Boxing Board of Control. He's got a legal issue with them because they've slapped $100,000 fine on him because he won't cooperate with the request for them to be able to adjudicate. No. Well, that's what the British Boxing Board of Control say. And with that in mind, the only reason I think he doesn't want to sit in front of... And I want Conor Benn not to be guilty. I've always wanted him not to be guilty. I think he's a super kid. I hated the fight. I thought it was a legacy fight that makes you and those around you a lot of money. I didn't like it, and I didn't like the state of Chris Eubank when he shredded to get down to that weight. And I'm not even going to bring his own father into it, right? And the rantings and the discreditation that other people try to do with him. But the bottom line is the reason why he doesn't want to get in front of the British Boxing Board of Control is the one terminology that no one likes, which is strict liability.
Strict liability, unless proven otherwise.
And the WBC is a building block for smart-ass lawyers to try and find a way around it, and it is.
He's not going to fight here again, Eddie, is he?
Govern that testing. Ultimately, what he did was he went to the people...
But they've got no relevance, have they?
But Simon...
And I agree with that. The people who are in charge of him fighting is the British Boxing Board of Control. The WBC is a sanctioning body. It's a sanctioning body. But it looks bad because he's saying he's got this mountain of evidence that he don't want to release. The jury is out on me. Listen, you know, it's too shady. It's too much going on. And that Piers Morgan interview, I'm glad I'm not the only one. It didn't do him any justice. It looked like he did that shit. It looked like he did that shit. Now, as far as this other guy is concerned, let me pull up this guy right now. Listen to this. This is the promoter of Oleksandr Usyk. I'm going to let this play through. He did it with Sky Sports. The Fury fight. Okay, let me tell you. My genuine opinion. My genuine opinion is when we're allowed to be boxing media only when they want us to be like boxing media. But nobody wants to talk about like the tough shit. You know, nobody wants to talk about the real shit, especially the so-called legacy media or, you know, the credible media, like the boxing scenes and the Yahoos and the ESPNs. But something's clearly going on with Tyson Fury. Either he don't think he can beat Usyk, either he's holding out for a bigger fight that he thinks he's going to get over Usyk, or he doesn't want to face drug testing. Maybe he's back on the powder. Like, you know, something's wrong because 70-30 split is kind of ridiculous in this day and age, especially when this man has 3 belts. And coming off of a fight, meaning Usyk, where he made at least $40 million, and I'm hearing that's on the low end for the second Anthony Joshua fight. Tyson Fury, he's a good, solid name, but he's not as big of a name as I think he thinks he is, you know? But listen to this.
Me well, I will try to express how disappointed I am. Not just for Usyk, not just for this fight not happening, but for the all boxing fans around the world, because this is probably the most anticipated fight, the most waited fight, and the most wanted one, and not just from the fans, but from our side as well. Usyk put it in the like WBC belt is the one that's pending in his collection, and he has to gain it, and it remains the highest priority for him and for us to deliver that to him. No matter what happens, sometimes it can be like this, sometimes it can be better, but it's a matter of fact that we will work on that. We will have to comply with our obligations in front of the mandatories probably, but it's very early to speak about that today, maybe tomorrow. But at this point, it is what it is. Unfortunately, very unfortunately for all of us.
One of the things that came out on the radio earlier was that Frank Warren claimed the fight is not dead. There is still a chance. Obviously, you then joined that discussion, and understandably, you weren't going to start negotiating a fight live on the radio. But one of the things that seemed to come from that discussion is that the rematch is part of the issue. If you take 70-30 in Fury's favor in the first fight, it's not possible to do that in the rematch. Is that correct?
Well, it's a part, only a small part of the thing. So throughout our negotiations, we spent hours and hours of talks on the phone, on Zoom, during the meetings in London. So we all made our best. Not just our side, but Frank Warren, George Warren, Queensberry, they did as much as we did. So they tried hard. We all tried to make it happen. But at some point, we are not the final decision makers. We are delivering the best solutions to our fighters, and they are the ones to take the final decision. So rematch clause was just the point where it all exploded. So from Usyk perspective, he was so willing to make this fight. And it's not about Tyson Fury. It's about the WBC belt. Unfortunately for us, Tyson Fury is holding it temporarily. But then we have to face this. I mean, not just Tyson, but his attitude. We've been trying for several months, probably 5 or 6 months. We made many attempts approaching with different options.
Can you not just agree on one fight, winner takes all in terms of the belts, and then if it fragments afterwards, then fine?
Yeah, it is acceptable, but the split should not be 70-30.
If it's a one-fight deal?
Yeah, of course, it's acceptable. If it's a one-fight deal, remember, Frank Warren mentioned it somehow on I think on Talk Sport. He said that it's an easy fight to make. 2 champions, 2 big names. It's a 50-50 fight. So very fair, no disrespect to any champion. And I agree with him completely. So that would be much easier to go with.
You know what it sounds like to me? Is that Usyk's side and Fury's side, outside of Fury, meaning Frank Warren, Queensberry, whoever's handling Tyson Fury, they're all ready to go. It's Tyson Fury that's saying no. For whatever reason, he doesn't want this fight. And I do believe, just like Brando said, that the 70-30 was a bluff to be like, like, so Usyk team can be like, that's disgraceful. We would never take that. 70-30, but then Usyk was like, all right, you know what? Fuck it, we'll take it. But to ask for that same split in the rematch, especially if Usyk wins, that's what I'm getting from it. It's like, wait a minute. Like, he don't want the fight. I think it's something else. What up, Donnell? What up to you? You think Andy Ruiz Wilder can sneak in and get the fight against Usyk? I think so. I think Wilder has a chance to get the fight. The WBC wouldn't get in the way. The WBA, they're kind of dodgy, because basically if Usyk doesn't fight Fury, he would be obligated to fight Daniel Dubois first. But would Frank Warren sacrifice Daniel Dubois just yet? Or would he be like, let's dial him back and try to, like build him up a little bit more? And then, so basically the running order would be Dubois WBA, the winner of CCP Zhang Zhang versus Joe Joyce. What date is that? April to what? And then it would be the IBF, which would be Felix Hergovitz, because they can't get, anybody to fight him to be the mandatory. So it will likely be him. Now, would Wilder be able to sneak in? I think so. But you have to get all of the sanctioning bodies and the fighters involved to take step-aside money and or not, agree. But it looks like, Deontay Wilder gave a hint of something possibly happening. But also, Andy Ruiz threw on his social media the idea of a potential fight between him and Fury. Now, me personally, I don't want to see Tyson Fury versus Andy Ruiz. I'm not saying it's not a good fight. I'm not a fan of it, However, Deontay Wilder versus Oleksandr Usyk, or Usyk versus Wilder, that does interest me. Because, Usyk's going to have to eat one. And I don't think he's going to be able to eat it. Like, he going to catch one. And I'm sorry. Like, I don't think that nobody can catch him clean outside of Tyson Fury. But look what he had to go through. First fight, he damn near died. Remember the infamous fat ripple down his back. So you go in there, you be having some real significant issues. You be having out-of-body experiences. Look at poor old Robert Helenius. He gave him a little love tap. Bam. It was a short joint too, and Helenius was fucked up. So I don't know. But it's looking like to me that Tyson Fury don't want to fight at all for whatever reason. So this is where I think you can say it's a duck. Quack, quack. And I don't never use that term, but it's looking very ducky. First thing I thought about was Scrooge McDuck, like with the 70% split. It's like, you got all the money. You got all the money, Scrooge. You got all the money. And that's still not good enough. You want more. You let your greed get in the way. And this is why people like myself, I used this before. I used this, I said it this way, is that boxing treats its fans like the 1950s, 60s stay-at-home wife. You know? Like they be treating you all good when you get all married and shit. You know, you're going away, and then one day he gets all looking up and he smacks you. And then he says, you know what? I'm never going to do it again, baby. I love you. You know, before you know it, he getting jealous. And then he smack you up again and say, you know what, baby, I ain't never going to do it. That's boxing. That's boxing. We be getting abused. You know, we'll get like a good schedule and be like, all right, boxing is really coming together. And then you'll have Fury do some bullshit like he been on. You know, we got a nice run of boxing, yeah. But history has shown us that it don't be consistent. We'll get this run of boxing, and then between August and December, it'd be dry. A pay-per-view here, pay-per-view there. Fighters and fights falling apart. Nah, it's not consistent enough. It's not consistent enough. I think Wilder can beat Usyk. Well, Wilder can beat anybody. He'll just knock you the fuck out. Wilder can beat anybody. You know, he touch you, you're going to have some issues. Let's see, what was next on the, what do y'all think? When I saw it, I really didn't want to believe it. Let me pull it up. What do y'all think about Adrian Broner signing with Don King? When I saw that email, I almost spit my damn drink out. I almost spit out my drink. Talk about the end of the road. Basically, you know what I got from this? You know what I got from this? Is that Don King gave him an advancement. And it was like, oh, Adrian, I've been watching you for years. Come on over here. You got some money? Here, boy, you know, I'm not going to let you leave out here, bro. You know, he gave no speech. He's like, you know, I've been telling you for all the years, I'll take care of you. And you see that money? He probably gave it to AB and was like, yeah, I just got these little paid for you to sign. Come on, we're over here. Let me call up Skip. Skip, you send on that contract? You know? He gave Adrian Broner that money, and that's the last cash he gonna get. What you think the interest rate is on that shit? What's that? Let me see. That's got to be about, those are all hundreds. Let me see. What is that? Maybe one of them kind of short. There's one on the end. So what do you think? That's about $250 a piece? Like one row, 250, 250, 500,000? You think so? You know Evil don't die. What movie is that from? Don King 1991. He ain't going nowhere. Evil do not die. Like the evil people always live to be old as shit. But anyway, that's it for Adrian Broner. This is the last stop. Don King? Now, I get it. Adrian Broner's name still carries some type of weight. And to see a Don King, Adrian Broner press conference, it's probably going to be hilarious. He's probably going to fight, you can pretty much kind of predict Don King fights, who their fighters are going to fight. But it's just like, bro, Don King, I still can't believe it. Like, Don King, that's about 400. I was thinking, like, I'm looking 2, 3, 4, like 450, 400 maybe. But, bro, this is who I think Adrian Broner is going to fight. It's going to be at 147. Trey Wiggins, Don King fighter. Treshawn Wiggins. Don King fighter. He's fought on Don King last 3 cards. That's who I'm thinking is going to be. I mean, what happened with BLK Prime? Did he cuss him out? He seemed like he was real happy to be with them. Then the card fell apart. You know, why they let him go? Or you think BLK Prime just dead? You think they dead? I think they cooked. I think they finished. You know, they never recovered from the from giving Bud Crawford his $10 million. Where'd that money come from? You know, like just you can't just be throwing money around like that in boxing thinking you're gonna make it big time. But that's some sad shit to me. I like Adrian Broner, but to see him with Don King is kind of fucked up. Yeah, Don King ain't going nowhere. I'm all right, guys. What's up? You guys been? I'm going to be here covering boxing this weekend. I do admit, I've been saying it for months. I'm still jaded. Like, it's something about the sport that's really been turning me off. But I'm going to cover boxing, you know, on the weekends, once a week. And last weekend I took off. I needed some me time. You know, last weekend was, I missed UFC. I didn't cover UFC or I didn't cover the Big Baby Miller fight. But this fight, you know, this card, of course I'm going to cover it, you know. April's still a nice solid month, despite that we're not getting Fury versus Usyk. They're saying it's still some chance it can happen. We haven't had a press conference yet. The fight this week, next week, it will be a month away. Do you really genuinely feel with that fight being a month away that we're going to get it? Fury versus Usyk? Not me, man. Not me. Not me. So, you know, I go through little phases where, you know, I'll be like in love with boxing, start pumping out all this content, but not no more. I am heavily considering, I just was talking about it yesterday, going to New York for Teofimo fight, like really getting back out there in the media field, you know, doing some interviews, doing some promotion, you know. I haven't been to a fight in a long time, man, in a long time. Usyk is out of camp. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. What's the other topics we got here? Anthony Joshua, Jermaine Franklin is next week. No buzz for that joint. Anthony Joshua not moving tickets like he used to. He is really rebuilding. You see how the fans then turned on him? Anthony Joshua fight today, a week before the fight, is not sold out. Like, that's crazy. Like, that buzz really going. And he's still, like, you know, he's still good to watch. He still can beat a lot of guys, but we know that when it comes to a mover or a natural boxer, like, he can lose. And it's not like Usyk wasn't having no issues. Usyk was having some issues. You know, them body shots were starting to stick. You see that Anthony Joshua, he does improve. It's just that he's always fighting somebody better. It's just that he's always fighting somebody better. But Danny Garcia is at 160 now. He might fight Evansland Lara if Mixer Rafa takes a step aside for the WBA belt at 160, the full WBA belt at 160. You know? But yeah, I'm hyped for David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. I got David Benavidez defeating Caleb Plant. I have Chris Colbert outboxing Rayo. I have Joey Spencer upsetting Jesus Ramos. For some reason, I see that. And I have Cody Crowley beating Abel Ramos. Jesus Ramos, I have him losing to Joey Spencer. I have Alonso Collie beating David Light. Frazier Clark beating Borjan Dinu. Who else? Jose Ramirez beating, he's ranked at 160, Danny Garcia. Jose Ramirez beating Richard Comey. They're probably going to be ugly. I don't think Richard Comey should be in there. Evansland Lara been around for a long time. He's becoming a new Gary Russell, where he only fights like once a year and it'd be some bullshit. Like Gary Spike O'Sullivan or Greg Vendetti. You know, motherfucking Yuri Foreman. Like, what's up with him? Like, he really, yeah, he had the Hurd fight, but Erislandy Lara and Canelo, of course, but he really ain't been doing nothing. And he's a high-paid PBC fighter, too. So that's why it'd be so hard to match him up against guys, and people don't want to be fighting him. But he's vulnerable now. His leg's kind of gone. So you would think that people will be like, all right, I want to fight him. Maybe that's why Danny Garcia want to fight him. I like Danny Garcia versus Erislandy Lara. I'm going to entertain the shit out of that fight. That's I like that fight. That's the type of shit that's up my alley. It means something. But listen, guys, I'm getting up out of here. It was nice hanging out with you cats. I'm going to be here this weekend covering boxing. Let me look at the boxing schedule real quick while we're here to see what we're going to be covering. By the way, here's the face-off for Canelo and John Ryder. I think John Ryder is going to do a lot better than people think he's going to do against Canelo. Canelo got a lot of city miles on him, stop and go traffic. He may still be young, but he's got a whole bunch of fights, man. 60 plus. He's been around for a long time. But I expect for that fight to do really, really big down there in Mexico. When's the last time Mexico had a fight that big with a star like Canelo? I think it's going to do huge numbers down there and on TV. Let's go look at the fight schedule, though. Courtesy of Dan Rayfield's Fight Freaks Unite. Let's see here. That's this weekend. This is this weekend. What's next weekend? Is that April the 1st? Yeah, the Anthony Joshua Carr, Jermaine Frank, and Fabio Wardley versus Michael Coffey. Don't be surprised if Fabio Wardley end up over on Boxer. That's how it's getting bad over there for Matchroom. It's getting bad. By the way, DAZN has a channel in the UK. How about that? DAZN has a channel in the UK. That's a big deal. They need a channel over here in the States, for real, for real. Rabis Ramirez versus Isaac Dogboe. Ooh, that is sexy. I like this card. I like this fight. This is going to be sexy. That's erotica. You got Roy Jones Jr. versus Anthony Pettis. I was on their Zoom call. This is a part of Jorge Masvidal's promotional company. Vitor Belfort's on that joint. Jose Aldo, Pro Gonzalez. That's going to be on pay-per-view. Let me see. How much is this? If it's $30, then you can count me in. Is it $30? Where's it at? Where's the price? If it's more than $30, then nope. I don't want nothing to do with it. But if it's only $30, then you can count me. I'm definitely going to buy it. But anyway, back to the schedule. Let me check Fight.tv, see how much that Roy Jones Pettis pay-per-view is. I'm sorry, it's bugging me. Let's see, schedule. Let's go over here and see what's going on. Where you at, Roy? That shit probably going to be $50, man. It better not be. It's probably not even on Fight. I think it's on regular, just cable. You can buy it. Yep, it's not listed. I can check my cable, but I really don't feel like it. The show's getting late. Let's see what else we got. What else we got? Bam Rodriguez versus Kristen Gonzalez, April the 8th. Shakur Stevenson versus Yoshino. Keyshawn Davis, Anthony Can You Dig a Yiggit? Jared Anderson versus George Arias. Tenshin Nakasawa is making his boxing debut. Remember, poor Tenshin, Mayweather beat him up. His father was puffing on a cigarette. Somebody asked him, what do you think about your son's performance? And he was like, his first loss was to Floyd Mayweather. Not bad. No bullshit. Sebastian Fundora versus Brian Mendoza. I got this confused. I shit on this card because I thought for some reason I got Brian Mendoza confused with Aaron Hernandez, or the Hernandez dude that beat J-Rock. That was my fault. I'm reneging. I like this fight. I said it was bullshit, but no, I like this fight. Tervel Pulev returns. He's the one who exposed the bad sushi. You know, the Jenny Sushi surviving Pulev scandal. Remember that? But he was the one that recorded the video and released it. therefore preventing Brett Pulev from getting canceled. Now, this fight right here is really some boxing erotica for me. Jojo versus Zheli Zhang. CCP Zheli Zhang. That's going to be on ESPN Plus and regular BT Sport over in the UK. Michaela Mayer versus Christina Latardo. This is the only woman to have beaten Alicia Baumgartner, but she lost to Katie Taylor. So this is a nice solid card. Let's see what else is going on. Of course, April the 22nd, Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. William Cepeda versus TBA. I forgot who that TBA is supposed to be. Vito Malnicki is on that card. Rackamon versus Joe Cordina. April's solid, but not great. I really like Amantas Stanionis, the Lithuanian versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. That's going to be a really good, fun fight. The reuniting of Richard Schaefer and Oscar De La Hoya. That's going to be crazy. I mean, April's good. You know, I like April. You know, April's pretty good. The May schedule, what we got on the May schedule so far? Canelo versus Ryder, Buatsi versus Stepien, Soul versus Kurbanov, Pulio versus Romero, Gingerbek Alimhanala versus Stephen Butler, Maloney versus Astrolebio, Haney versus Lomachenko, Valdez versus Adam Lopez, Junto Nakatani versus Andrew Maloney, Nico Ali Walsh versus Danny Rosenberger, Chantelle Cameron versus Katie Taylor, Terry Harper versus Celia Bracus, Dennis Hogan, James Metcalf, Shanika Johnson versus Ellie Scottney. Ooh, this is erotica too. I really like this one. I really like that. Luis Alberto Lopez versus Mick Conlon, CBS over on. So yeah, I mean, May is pretty solid too. May, we got a nice solid couple of months. Hopefully these fights hold up because we need all of these fights to take place, you know, to keep the schedule like robust and intact. With that being said, let me get up out of here. Take your time out. Like the video and subscribe and follow me on Twitter at TstreeT CONTROVERSY. On to going back to editing my next recap of Jussie Smollett, Anatomy of a Hoax Part 2.